everybody, welcome back to the den. I'm Ross, and today I'm going to be doing up some additions to my tabletop wargaming scenery. As you can see behind me, I do have some terrain I've done up for like 40k, and then I got some palisade walls that could be universal for different genres of tabletop gaming. However, I never got around to fully finishing them, so I figured in this video I would go through and show you some things that I'm doing, and then move on to doing up the paint work in another video, because this would technically be a let's build video, but it's just a continuation from stuff I had kind of semi-finished 4 years ago. So I'm just going to pull some stuff aside and put it on the table and show you what I got going on. So you can see here I have 5 pieces of a wooden barricade wall made out of craft sticks. Originally I was going to put these on bases, which I'm going to do up here in this video, and make little ladders and whatnot. I wanted something that would kind of be like, okay, what can I use that'll work for a fantasy setting and a future sci-fi setting? But at the same time, is when I go to paint these up, is how do I keep the painting neutral so it doesn't favor a certain thing? That's the tricky part. So to start, just help make these a little stronger. Using this, I'm not sure how thick this board is. This is something I picked up at the old carpet plant in Truro that was being recycled and thrown out, and I figured I can make use of that. I asked one of the foremen in that area, and they said, yep, go ahead, it's garbage. And so I took it, and it's basically a cardboard sleeve. It's almost as dense as hardboard, but I can cut this with an X-Acto knife. And if you're doing some cutting with an X-Acto knife, you might as well get a steel ruler for this. This one's a stainless steel, but yet to be determined. So what I will be doing is I'm going to set these up. I don't want to make them, I may kind of want to make them tight so they can kind of fit together, or, you know, get that kind of thing going. And I'm going to, what's it, pen, pencil? Well, here's a pencil. I'm just going to mark out where my edges are going to be. So if you want tight fitting walls, you got to cut this kind of tight for any wall you come up with. That didn't leave much mark at all. Come on. There we go. There we go. The back end, though, I want to leave a little bit of room. Seal in the camera or not? Yes, okay, we can. So I can put down a spot for a ladder, maybe a barrel or something, and then other objects underneath later on. There we go. Now just leave that like so. Oh wait, almost forgot a step. Going to mark roughly where the front of this is. Excellent. Now, if you're under 18, not sure how to work one of these, get a parent to help you. Initially, once I get the first couple of strikes in, I can just follow through with just a knife. Now for this next bit is, do I want to keep it flush with the wall, or do I want to add a few little millimeters? That way I can add flock in the front of these planks and make it look like it's actually in the ground, and that's what I'm going to do. You don't have to. If you want to keep things super clean, you can. But I figure about there ought to do it. Get these other ones out of the way. And it's nice to have a cutting mat. I don't want to damage this table. It's a nice little homemade table. Now the fun part, just working back and forth. And there's our first base. I'm just going to keep these together so I don't lose them. And then for this, I'm just going to be repeating the process for each one. And at the same time, making sure I have a... Which way did I have this now? I think it was this way, yes. Make sure I get the sides as tight as possible. Then have like a little bit of overlap in the front. Actually, at this point, I even need the pencil. I can just cheat this a little bit. Look at these done up, and with the power of, I don't want to say movie magic, video editing magic. And with a quick zip, all the walls got their bases. But this isn't a wall. This is a tower I built to go with the walls. So I pretty much made the front of it, well, the sides of it, I should say, flush tight, so you could flush tight the walls to it if you had to, make this like a dominating centerpiece, or even want to build it for a corner section. And that's something I need to do too, is I need to make some corner walls at some point. At the same time, I like the other wall sections, I gave it a bit of treatment so it has the room here to put like little boxes down, glue down, whatever else to add some, little features or cover to it. Now the fun part is, let me grab it here. Nope, that's not the bottles I had. Here they are. Time to glue these to the bases. Now this will take a few seconds to dry, but it's white glue. It is what it is. And of course, because there's like no real edges, I carefully go around. I may have to make a hole in this one. Maybe. I don't know. We're doing this in public school. Fingernail across the top. That should free it up. Other than that, this bottle's empty. It's pretty light. Nope, still some in there, and it's kind of... Yeah, I'll fiddle with that there in a couple seconds. Just get a fresh bottle out. Wow, why don't this want to work for me today? Oh, right, I forgot. These ones from the dollar stores here in Canada come with a black cap. And I accidentally squeezed one so hard that I blew the top off and all the glue hit the ceiling. Kind of like in that first Scary movie where the two are making love and the guy does, the manly thing, and she's pretty much plastered to the ceiling. Alright, now we're in business. I'm not too worried if it runs down the sides a little bit. That'll all get clear coated when it dries anyway. So there's one. That's pretty much just it. Just go around, do the edges. Better yet, save making a mess. It might be a better idea to just take your front, mark it. These ones in the back aren't the greatest. Glue it on. And then just run a bead of glue on the opposite side. That should help things from getting too messy. So I'll just do up the next 4, let those dry, and we'll be right back. So here it is a day later. I totally forgot white glue is not very quick drying. And everything seems to be holding in place, and we've got this nice, clear, see-through, transparent glue or whatever. However, because none of this is flush to the bottom, I am kind of worried that the moment I start adding weight to it, it might come apart. So I'm going to say skip the white glue. I'm putting them onto a base. We're going to go with hot glue. And for that, you're going to need a hot glue gun and some glue sticks. And I don't know where my glue sticks are, so just bear with me, folks, while I just touch up the sides of these. So they're all done. I got the glue done, and I found my other little glue gun. The problem with this one from the dollar store is it's just you can't change these pegs, so it makes it a little more annoying to get into some spots with some of the projects. The nice thing about hot glue is even if it cures, you could just take the tip of the nozzle, reheat it up, and reshape some parts or thin some parts down. You know what I mean. You get that kind of crafty. So these are not going to dry, and we'll be back in a few seconds, and I will start to do a bit of flock on them. Well, actually, no. Before I do that, I gotta do this. Shoot, I almost totally forgot. I gotta still do up some barrel bits for it and whatnot, and the ladders. So yeah, we'll do the ladders and little debris bits next. With that being said, next up is going to start doing up the ladders for these. Now, usually it's good to have some reference material. So here I have a metal Sisters of Battle and an old High Elf from the 8th edition? Yeah, 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy. Or this was a 6th edition model. I can't remember. Point is, we're going to use these as references because they're pretty much about human height. I do have some War Machine figures, but in the end, how you do up your terrain is up to you. Me, I'm just trying to make it so this set can be multi-use. So if the rungs are a little bit off with each other, that's okay. Now, I thought I had some really fine... where'd they go? I know where they went. You're going to need toothpicks for this next part. And I'm going to recommend the white glue. So get your little white glue out. Now, usually I use these for stir sticks for my paints to rejuvenate the ones that are kind of get a little dry. So these will make perfect for our ladders. So I am going to have to double them up. At the same time, I also want to kind of get rid of the points. If you can get like shish kebab sticks, they're about this dense, that's even better. And to snip those ends, we're going to need some snips. I'll just use my Citadel plastic cutters. And let's try to accurately, you guys can kind of feel for it. Just snip the tips. Keep the bottom part of the shaft, or the midsection of the shaft, sorry, of the toothpick. So I'm going to be a couple minutes snipping these up, and we'll be right back. So now I got the pieces I need to make my ladders. So now I have all the pieces I need to make my ladders. However, let's get rid of all these pointy bits because I don't need them, nor do I need them for any other future projects. And they're just going to be a hazard, if you will. So next up, because I'm using toothpicks, and this is quite tall, I mean literally we can stick the spearman clear underneath these battlements. And I am going to have to get rid of some of this cleaning of... There we go. But yeah, so he clearly fits underneath. The Battle Sister clearly fits underneath. I made mine tall for a reason, because even in Warhammer Fantasy and other fantasy games, and even sci-fi, there are going to be monstrous vehicles, creatures, whatever. So I figured to make ones that would help repel that off. Now to begin, I got my 2 long pieces, which I will glue together. And then I got all these little shorter pieces, and I believe having them cut in half makes them look like a human or elven made ladder or whatever for a rush of a ladder. We'll just say about human sized. For orcs this might be a little too narrow, but whatever have you. I'm going to space these out. So yeah, I believe 8 is enough. The next thing I'm going to do is going to get my glue. And hopefully get these to glue together. Oof, that's not how I wanted it, but whatever. So yeah, I'll get these glued up and I'll clean them up and we'll be right back. Probably tomorrow because the sun's going down and by the time this dries, won't be much light in here. Okay, so it's been another day and I do apologize for extending my progress time over the days. It's just something that sometimes happens. So now we got the rungs that are now set. It's just a matter of gently nudging them off the mat. I've tried wax paper, I've tried tinfoil and all that, but if you're trying to glue little pieces of these together, you're best to use like a little cutting mat. Come off like so. Something I should point out is if you're able to and you're at the dollar store, check out the tools section if they have any tools and get like a little flat putty scalpel or spatula or whatever, just so you can get in there and just gently take them off without using your fingernails. Because I don't have much for fingernails right now. Right. So the next step for these is to start installing the rungs. And same thing like before, just a bit of white glue. But if you're really talented, you could tie them up with like little pieces of string or something, which in my case I'm not too very good with in the very small detail, or found a way to without using tweezers. So for this, I'm just going to line them up best I can, and then add little drops of glue. And of course, as you can see, when it dries, we get this little clear film, but that's okay. Clean that up later with a knife. And just going to place them, spread them out a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to need tweezers. There we go. And an don't want these to look orky looking, so I want them to be as, you know, orderly constructed as possible. Of course, things will never be perfect. So there's one. And just dab a bit of glue. Oh dear, look what I've done. You bump one thing, you bump the other. This isn't working. Thought this would work. Well, time for plan B. Just gonna add a dot. So yeah, just completely ignore dry placing them. And then just kind of eye it up from here. At least if something does shift, you got the glue keeping it tacked in. Gluey air bubbles may be included, but not preferred. So I'm gonna go around and do it to the other 4, and we'll be right back again, hopefully not the next day. Okay, I had to make up a couple extra bits for this one here and this one here due to my spacing, but we are still on the same day. It's just been a couple of hours, and I'm hoping I can just gently lift. It's still a little tacky. Come on. There we go. So there's one. You know what? Let's get the ruler in here. Just to kind of gently. That's not working either. Oh, we'll just push straight down. There we go. Got 2. 3. 4. And 5. I almost feel bad doing this a little early. It feels like they could use just a little bit more time to dry, but that's okay. I am now going to run these ladders up on them. Height-wise, they don't look too bad. Now the real question is to put which ones with which one. Like I do have a slightly taller one here. Maybe this one can go there. I don't know. What do you folks think? Oops. This guy isn't quite level either. Maybe this way. Bit of a twist. Anyway, that's the idea, is to put some of these ladders on the walls. I'll not to put them on all of them. I don't really think it's necessary, but I'm going to put a couple up on the front side of the tower here just to help add some detail. I will glue these on, though, when I get the, whatchamadinger, the base for it done. Alright, it's now been a few days later, about 3 to 4, back shift weekend, and in my spare time I've gone ahead and got all the walls and the tower done up. I just have this last guy to do, and I'm just going to give a brief explanation on what I'm doing with this bit and show, because apparently I've been having so much fun filming this video that's been almost 30 minutes long. Excuse me. So basically, for this step here, you're going to want a piece of paper because you're going to have excess runoff. Always going to have excess runoff. And you want to put a bead of glue in the next pattern and maybe a couple of dots. This is just how I do it, just try to get all the areas covered. And at the same time, I thin it down a little bit with some water. Now this stuff here, it doesn't like to retain with water. Like I've already got some slight bit of warpage going on here. Like they're no longer flat. That corner's warped. That one's a little warped. It's just where that hardboard comes in handy. This is just me trying it with these cardboard sleeves. Like even the corner here is now warped. But you do need to water it down a little bit. So if you're watering it down, get like a little dropper and just use a little bit at a time. Now, without further ado, I'm gonna get this started. And before I forget, get rid of the excess hot glue bits. Yeah, this is already warped from the hot glue anyway. Put a bead. Another bead. Boop, boop. And I mean, for $1.25, you can't go wrong with this. Having a nice wide brush. I did wash this out, but sometimes you gotta soak it out really good. Just a little tester's paintbrush. The reason why I like these is because they got like a plastic bristle. I think it's a fine plastic bristle. Yeah, it feels like a fine plastic bristle. I can't seem to find any good dollar store plastic bristles. They're all like that bristle hair, so I don't want to waste it. And then a little cup of water. Just gonna go drop there, there, bead there, there, and there. I will, however, need a bit more glue over here. Now, there is a bit of a strand I didn't cut out, but that's okay. We'll just bury that in the decorative sand, which I have right here. And I will say that if you're going to the dollar store, it's kind of hard to find fine grain sand for stuff like this, let alone doing model bases. So if you do find some, grab a bunch. If you really need a bunch, that is, because I normally do. As I'm as nice as Games Workshop makes modeling sand, their cost to what you get's a little on the con side. I should say a little excessively on the con side, even though it does so well. And as for the glue, you just kind of want to get spread it around, especially going into the wall section here where I'm going to want the sand kind of piled up. This way, any excess heavy air, just kind of push it around. There we go. Now the fun part. This is the craft sand I picked up. It's got a mix of fine to slightly medium fine. Going on your model basis, it's alright. It doesn't look that realistic, but if you're not picky, it's alright. But for doing up terrain bits, it blends in quite well with the scale, I find it. So I'm going to pour a bunch on there. Then I'm going to take my trusty tweezers, pick these up at e2046.com or the 2406. Either way, not hard to find. It's from China. They're like $2, and they're really good. So yeah, basically just want to add sand as you need it. I'm gonna add some more to the back line. Never be too worried about going a little excessive. Because when you're done, you're just gonna knock it all off onto your piece of paper. And then do it like so. And if you get a little bit you missed, like around that edge, quite alright. Get a nice little light tapping. Get that off of there. Now here comes the fun part. Oh yeah, clean up my tweezers, because you know, grits and glue. Then you're just going to fold your paper in half. Carefully bring it up. And then knock all your sand back in. And of course, you're going to have little bits left over from glued bits, but that's okay. So we can throw in the burn pile later. Now then, next phase, move up the grass on the front. This one uses a little more precision. Actually, I don't even need that much glue on this side. What am I doing? Forget the little things, eh? So I'm just going to brush it across. Also, you notice the glue will start to stick to the brush a little bit, so sometimes just going back and forth. Work it in there. There we go. And for this bit, I'm using the Army Painter Moss Green. I picked this up a while ago. Well, a while ago, it being about 5 years, maybe 6. And it's actually the first time I've actually been using it is on these walls. Comes out really nice. Try and get this in the shot a little better. At the same time, my hands are blocking everything. Just take my tweezers here and just plopping it on. Just very carefully. How's that looking? Yeah, I can still see what I'm doing. Do apologize for the lighting. It is a wet, rainy day. I'm just gonna gently pack it in. You can see it's gonna leave like a little curvature from when I did up the hot glue on it earlier. Some more there. I just gently pack it in. And then once more, tilt it up. Now if you get a little bit of glue on the side like that, you can just take your finger and wipe it off on the sheet. And there we go, there's my grass front. Another thing you can do too is like, let that dry. Then gently get like a water, like a 20% water to white glue ratio, and just build up another layer if you really wanted to. Works great when doing with sand though, more so than static grass. But if you want to really like just be quick with a nice grass buildup, play with your glue gun. Get a nice bead or something going and then smooth it out with a toothpick stick or something. Let's try that with another video. And once more, you just knock your excess grass into the pot. So I'm going to call it wraps on this video, and we'll make this video part 1. Which, at the start, we'll say part 1 now. I wasn't planning to be a part 1, but now it's going to be a part 1 because it's going to be about 30 minutes long. So, join me in the next segment for part 2, where I'm actually going to go and paint up the sand, and then debate whether I want to do some paint work on the woodwork or not. Alright everybody, take care and keep safe.